I mean, if somebody told me as a kid that they would be announcing the WNBA coming back to my hometown in a restaurant that I helped build, I'd be like, there's no way.
Now on the Epicenter of Women's Sports podcast with Karina LeBlanc, the visionary behind the world's first bar that only shows women's sports.
So when I think about the sports bra and where it is in the movement of women's sports, it's not only giving fans a place to be and celebrate, but it creates fandom.
Jenny Nguyen explains what inspired her to open up the sports bra and why she's taken it across America.
People want this. People feel like, not even that they want it, they feel like they need this space to exist in their communities.
She also speaks about some of her favorite moments with the stars who walked through her door.
So the six top, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi all did shots. And I was just like,
We're good.
unsure if this would be happening at any other bar.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is the sports bra. This is a moment.
So Jenny Nguyen, exceptional finale guest. She brings culture, community, national relevance, business insights, and identity all wrapped into one powerful story, which we're going to hear today. Let's talk about you. The founder of the sports bra, a global sensation. She sparked a worldwide cultural shift of how women's sports are watched and valued. From US to Europe to Australia, media outlets talking about her. Jenny has elevated Portland into the global epicenter of women's sports. All right, let's start having some fun. Can't wait. Jenny!
Yo, welcome to the bra.
All right,
We're here.
having us here.
We're here today.
You know, I remember, actually, we did one of the biggest things here.
Oh, yeah.
We made, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
What am I talking about?
You talking about WNBA?
Yes! Yes! People don't know. Way back when, before the Portland Fire came,
Yep.
we did the pitch right here to the commissioner. We had the senator in the house. What a special moment.
It was wild. And we had just opened that year.
Yeah.
So to have all of those folks in here to pitch Portland as a potential franchise location for the W, it was huge.
And we had no idea what would come.
Yeah,
And now here we are.
absolutely.
So let's start diving into my first question.
Can't wait.
What is a defining moment in your life that has brought Jenny to this point right now?
Yeah, gosh, there's so many, honestly. But the one that I think about the most in regards to the sports bra is, I had this idea. It was a crazy idea. It started, a while back. And I was kind of at this turning point in my life where, the proverbial fork in the road, where I could put all of my eggs in one basket and go down this road was completely untraveled. Something I had no idea about. I had never wanted to open a business, and there was like this entrepreneurial journey. That's one way. Or the current road that I was on. And a lot of folks don't know this, but prior to opening the sports bra, I was unemployed for about 5 years. And happily unemployed. So let's say that, fun employed, as some folks may say. And so I was on this trajectory of doing whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
No obligations, basically pared down my life so that I didn't have too many bills to pay. Simple life. So it was, casual not working, doing my own thing all the time, to full on small business owner, a concept that had literally never been done during the pandemic. So in this fork in the road, for folks who know me, know that I'm very laid back. So I was actually leaning towards pajamas and sofa. But I was having beers with my girlfriend at the time. And I thought to myself, And I kept, this was the time where I was daydreaming about the bra all the time. And I told her, and I go, can you imagine if our parents took us to a place like the sports bra when we were 7 years old,
Yeah.
and what that would have felt like
Mm-hmm.
to us as kids that loved playing. We both met playing basketball.
Yeah.
So just to be in a place where we felt seen and to look onto the screens at the sports bra and see women playing the sport that we loved. Like, what would that have felt like to us to have been in a space like that? And then to look into maybe a packed restaurant
Yeah.
of folks cheering for those women playing
Yeah.
the sport that we loved. How how it would have impacted us
Yeah.
as kids.
Yeah.
And seeing a future for us in sports, seeing, grown-ass women on TV
Yeah.
doing the thing that we loved, and then
Yeah.
people out here cheering for them. And it was right at that moment that I was kind of like, gosh, if I do this thing
Yeah.
and we only open, let's say, for 6 months, and there's one kid that walks in here and has that feeling of belonging or feeling seen, and then the whole thing doesn't work, it would be worth it. And
Yeah.
at that point, it just felt like I have to at least try this, or else I would always wonder, what if? So that to me was kind of the turning point of me being like, this crazy idea to, okay, I'm going to give this 150% because I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And to me, it was almost like this lesson of, when I think about what I'm willing to do for myself. So at the time, I was just thinking about, oh my God, will I sacrifice? I don't have any money. I don't have any business acumen. I don't know any of these things. That sounds like a really hard journey. And I just kept thinking about myself and like being like, I don't want to do any of those things.
Yeah.
That sounds hard. But when I thought about the 7-year-old version of myself, and I thought about any kid coming in here and possibly having a transformative experience, that felt worth it to me. So I think that it is an interesting perspective of like advocating
Yeah.
and then learning why.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I advocate for myself the way I would advocate for the 7-year-old Jenny? But really, that was like a turning point for me.
You talk about the 7-year-old Jenny because you talked about thinking of that version of you. Yet most people in life would not be confident or brave enough or courageous enough to do it. So who was that 7-year-old Jenny?
I mean, that 7-year-old Jenny wanted to feel like they belonged somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the remainder of that conversation, we were having beers and I was just like 7-year-old version. And my girlfriend at the time, she was just like, yeah, imagine if we were 15 and I go 21, 25, 32. And we both realized that neither of us had ever been in a space that, and she was a college athlete, so she went a lot further than I did. But our identities are so locked up into sports and as queer women. And it was just like, neither of us had ever felt a space where those two things were like really held for representation. And so when we just we kept bouncing these ages off of ourselves, and then we both sat there and just realized that the space has not existed for us.
Yes.
And so when I think back on when I was 7 and just growing up, it was, I think as kids, we're constantly thinking about, how do I fit in?
Yeah.
How do I get in on these groups? But as we grow up, we realize that it's our individual identities and what makes us unique that sets us apart and what makes all of us special and become extra valued.
Yeah.
But do we teach our children that, or do children feel that?
Yeah.
And so all of that was just super important to me as a kid, just trying to fit in, and then realizing that it was really hard to get me to fit into any kind of box, like even at all these different ages, right? And so, yeah, I think the 7-year-old version of me would just love a space where they felt like they could be themselves and feel welcome that way.
Do you ever sit back? Because I think we're both, the 7-year-old version of me, I was shy, couldn't get me to speak, which you laugh because we're everywhere together. And I'm not shy, but I think about that version of me. And you talk about it, representation. You have to see what you want to be. You have to believe in it, but the importance of actually creating a person or space that a young version of you could see. Expand on what right now you would say to that younger version of yourself, and then most importantly, what that younger version of yourself would say to Jenny today.
I mean, honestly, it is such a long journey, and I feel like I'm still on it.
Yeah.
Right? Constantly trying to find myself, who I am, and feel comfortable in my own skin. And I think that is a journey for everybody. And I feel so fortunate that the bra is like this outward expression of who I am. Because, I put my whole personality and everything, when I had the opportunity to build my own restaurant, it's like, I'm going to do everything for me. Like, what would I want? And, one thing for me is like when I go to use public restrooms, I often get misgendered. And it is a situation for me, and it never gets easy. Like, I hate it every time. And it happens all the time. So when I had the opportunity to decide what to do with our restrooms, I was like, we're going to make them like gender neutral, like both. And whenever I go somewhere and I see like a non-gendered bathroom, I have like a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Like it is a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And so like every part of the bra, I was just like, I thought about it from my point of view.
Yeah.
And, you know, it sounds selfish or whatever, but then it turns out like when we open the doors, my lived experience has a lot of intersectionality. And I didn't realize that as I was doing it. Honestly, I wanted to create a space to like blow up women's sports fandom. I didn't think about I was opening up a space for queer folks because I'm a queer person.
Yeah.
I didn't think about opening up a space for people with dietary restrictions or, you know, because I eat gluten-free and I'm dairy-free. Like these are just parts of who I am. And so I'm just like, oh, we're going to make this menu this way. And then, you know, I would say like the first 3 months that we were open, a ton of young Vietnamese girls and women would come in and just like cry and just express what it was like to have a Vietnamese woman open a business like this. And it had never occurred to me that, I mean, I know what I am, but I also didn't think of the bra as a Vietnamese owned, you know, business that was opening up in Portland. So it was just like all of these intersectionalities. And so the welcoming and the warmth and the celebration and acceptance of the sports bra that has happened, it has helped me to grow my self-love and my confidence, because really it is a reflection of me. And to see that being held like very closely to folks makes me feel like I'm being held very closely to folks. So I have the great honor of finding a unique voice through a space and then watching people embrace it. And that is an embracing of me in a lot of ways. So I mean, I don't know, you know, obviously we would say to our 7-year-old version of ourselves, be yourself, you're good enough. You know, you're everything that you're supposed to be. Like lean in. That's what's going to make you special. And I think that there were people who told me that, and I was like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to have an accent. I want to learn English. Like my parents didn't speak English when I was in the home, and I'd just be like, speaking, you know.
Exactly.
And just like I grew up eating Vietnamese food every day, and I'd be like, I want mac and cheese and like hamburgers and like all of the things. And I just wanted to fit in. And basketball sports was actually my kind of my way of fitting in, because, you know, my parents worked multiple jobs to put me through private school, like in elementary school, and we were like poor. And so, you know, I played basketball so that people like wouldn't see that part of me. And it was just like all of these ways. And I like knew I was a lesbian like really young. And I just played basketball so that I wouldn't have to talk about it, or like it wouldn't be weird. People would be like, Jenny, why don't you have a boyfriend? And I'd be like, oh, I'm too busy playing basketball. You know what I mean? Like it was just like an easy way for me to
hide.
Yeah. So it was partially that and partially just something I absolutely loved, and I found myself in it. And later on, I realized that I just love being part of a team.
You know, it's crazy because I joke, we do a lot of events together, and we always end up on our own talking and catching up.
Sure.
And in this conversation, you're saying some things, because when I was younger, I remember I used to have short hair and I didn't have earrings in, and I ran into a bathroom, and a young man, an old man, like ran after me. He's like, oh, young boy, you're going in the wrong way. And I remember I cried so hard I didn't even run the race that day.
Oh, man.
And when you're talking about it is like the importance of the little things, the importance of, we also, I moved to Canada, I was put in ESL because my accent from the Caribbean was too thick. Sports was where it didn't matter. Sports was where you could be connected with people who were like-minded, and all they cared about, pass me the ball or make me feel good. And sports is where I think so many people don't understand the words for women to be able to say, I am enough. That's a hard thing for a woman to go through.
Absolutely.
And to know that you've come through that and now you can see yourself, I am enough as a Vietnamese queer woman. Like that is powerful because, you know, being a Black woman, I remember when I became like a GM, and it was like first Black woman to win as a GM as a player. I didn't even think it was that important until someone stated it. And it's You're living your life in a space that you never thought was possible because you're doing what you didn't know was possible. And now we're sitting here in a bar that's called the Sports Bar that's packed. Women's World Cup, Final Fours, all these things. And you're like leading the way on that. As a Vietnamese queer woman, have you actually paused to stop and be proud of yourself?
I want to say yes, but mostly because people make me. You know, like I think that there's a lot. There's a lot of baggage, right? And I think oftentimes as women, we're told not to do those things. You know, we're told to like be humble. And, you know, thank God I have such a great supportive team and like family and girlfriend and everything. But my team is constantly like, take up space, Jenny. You deserve this. You earn this. Because oftentimes I'm like, oh, you know, thank this person, my like all of, because again, nobody does something like this by themselves. Incredibly great team of doers and dreamers alongside me. And one thing that I can't state enough is that you surround yourself with people smarter and better than you at everything, right? Like I'm one person. I have very limited capacity. I don't know anything about business. So I hired and I brought on people who know the most about whatever I need them to. And they make me a better person, a better human, a better leader. But one thing that is really, really great is that we have like an honest connection and communication. And so, you know, there was something, the Rosarians, you know, the Royal Rosarians.
Yeah.
And every year they do like a induction.
Yeah.
I got this whole thing from them and I was just like, I'm not really into it. And I like shelved it. And somebody on my team was just like, Jenny, listen, this has been going on for over 100 years. And guess how many queer Vietnamese women are on this list? And she's like, you need to do this not for yourself.
Yeah.
You need to like show other people that they belong. And it's that mindset that I never thought of, just like you're saying. It has never occurred to me. I'm just like, oh yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with sports. You know, it's just not my jam. I don't need to get another award.
But
it's taking
for yourself.
space. Exactly. Yeah. And when I get on stage and I talk about that, more often than not, there's somebody out in that audience that has never heard someone tell their story on a stage before.
Yeah.
They feel like my story is their story.
Yeah.
And every time that happens, I remember that this is bigger than me.
Your story is their story. So do you think the sports bra would have been it if it wasn't done in Portland in the beginning?
Oh, gosh. You know, I think that I truly believed that before I opened. Because, you know, I was born and raised here, so grew up my entire life here. And from a super young age, I witnessed Portland showing up for women's sports. My dad was a huge soccer fan, so he took me to University of Portland games when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And those stands were packed. And, you know, then the Thorns, and it was just, we defined women's sports fandom with Thorns, right?
Yeah, we did.
And then the Fire the first time, the Portland Power, we went to all those games. My dad and I went to all those games, and there were thousands of people.
Yeah.
And so when I got the idea of the sports bar, I was just like, you know what? If it doesn't work in Portland, I don't think it would work anywhere on this planet. But the moment the idea of the sports bra kind of hit the news, or like that first article was published, I literally got DMs, emails, like letters in the mail from folks all across the globe talking about how the sports bra belonged everywhere.
Yeah.
And how they needed it there. And what I felt was like a Portland special like sauce around women's sports fandom is actually quite universal.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a better place to launch the sports bra than my hometown of Portland.
You know, I've been saying this is a global epicenter of women's sports. And people are like, why? And you talk about our success, all the teams that you just talked about from university, professional level, how our fan base shows up. This is here in Portland. You get global letters, and it going to the conversation of like, hey, we're doing something special. And Elizabeth Lindsay, one of our most recent guests, she said, fans have been telling us for a long time what they want, but we just haven't been listening. You decided to take this idea, and she talks about it not being a moment or movement, but a platform. And you took this platform and made this of it. What has been the most surprising thing in doing this business?
Yeah. I mean, there's been 5 quadrillion surprises. But one of the biggest things that I think kind of blankets all of it is that when a space that had never existed before gets created, it redefines what's possible. It literally redefines what's possible. There are people who had never considered a sports bar that was dedicated to women's sports. And when you create actually 4 walls that is dedicated to that, the things that align in this space, they may or may not have anything to do with women and or sports, but they belong here. And so the amount of opportunities that we've had to host events or work with partners, organizations, nonprofits, leagues, teams, you name it, there is an entire almost universe of connection that I don't think could be housed anywhere but a space that was created for the dedication of like women's sports fandom. Like a physical one. And so, I think I described it once as like that Hadron Collider, this giant thing, and you shoot one particle this way and you shoot one particle that way. And let's say one is women and one is sports. And they spin around and around, and at one point they collide. And that collision basically creates a quadrillion opportunities. And that to me is the sports bra.
It's crazy because you say like opportunities, because I think about what we've created, right? When we are talking about the performance center we're building, and you literally simplified it saying it's 4 walls and it's what happens inside of that space. And as you know, we'll be having 2 teams. We'll be having like a building specifically made for women. And if I think of what you've done in the space, the moments you've created, the joy that you've brought, that excites me for what will happen there. So let's go into moments you've created. Like share a story of a moment that you created that like brought you to tears. And then a moment that you created that like basically made you just gasp and be like, is this really happening?
I mean, I kid you not, there are thousands of those moments.
But tell us, our
Thousands.
listeners are like, I want to go to Portland to be and hang out and watch a game. And we've been here. We've done the Thorns parties here. We're going to do the fight. We've done so many things here. But you, as a person who created this from an idea, what's the one moment or 1 or 2 moments that you're like, it just catches you? Like, I want our listeners to hear from Jenny the why and the story that really made it make sense.
Okay, I'm going to try to pick a couple because, again, there are thousands that are very, very important.
And listeners, don't be sad if your story's not picked.
So many. So early on, I went to D.C. for the championship NWSL game.
2022?
2022.
Here we go.
And I had been invited by Julie Haddon way before I knew that the Thorns were going to be in that game. So I'm like super excited. The NWSL is inviting me to DC to attend this championship match. And we get closer and closer and the Thorns make it. And I'm like, oh my God, let's get on the plane together. So we go over there, and about 400 of the Rose City Riveters, which is our massive fan group,
they travel for us.
They fly over to DC. And they're sitting in this huge section right behind the goal. And then I'm sitting, in a different section. But we're like so excited to be there. And it's mayhem. Everything's awesome. And then we win. We win the championship. And I remember I told my friends, I was like, we're running down to the Riveters. So I grab my friends, we run down to the Riveters, and I get down in front of them, and I'm like recording them. And they're like, it's Jenny from the Bra. And we're like cheering, and fireworks are going off. It's mayhem, right? I'm so excited that I get this opportunity to be in DC with the team, with the fans, and share this moment. And as I'm recording this video, I get a FaceTime call, and it's a server here at the Bra. So I open it up, and this place is jam-packed. And she's just like, we won. And then she points it out, and everybody's looking into the camera, and I'm showing it to the Riveters. And so from coast to coast, there is this very brief moment of fandom of women's sports fandom for Portland that is happening right there and then. And I had this moment of like, where else is this happening? Where else is this moment happening? And I'm not at the bar, but I am at the bar.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I talk about these four walls and the experiences and what it has created, the bra is much bigger than these four walls now. Like, it is a movement. It is something that is much greater than just a bar, obviously. But that is one, and that was an early moment where it was just like, it transcended, you know, lots of things at the time for me. And so that stands out in my mind, and I will never forget it. And I wish I'd reported the FaceTime, but I didn't. It was like 30 seconds of just everybody screaming.
It's so crazy because, again, it talks about the depth of winning a championship in the city, because obviously being on the team and being able to come back to the city, you get to experience the city. But I think what the athletes always know is that, like, wearing that badge in their heart is they're representing the culture and the fandom of women's sports in this city. And I'm like, you'd think I knew this story. I actually did not know this story, which is absolutely incredible because, like you said, nowhere else could you create that moment where so many people are connected. Our fan base travels like crazy, but then back home, they felt like they were part of it.
Yep.
And that's what makes all of Portland special.
Totally.
So, what are you learning about our fans? Because you have a unique lens of, obviously there's research, there's data, we know about the stadium, but what are you learning about our fans through those that walk through the door or the ones that send you letters or, you know, hopefully they don't show up at your house door, but show up here. Like, what are you learning about our fans that you can kind of educate us on?
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like we have a really great platform in that we are literally at the grassroots level of fandom, like sitting next to, standing next to,
Yeah.
bar stools. Let's reclaim that term. But like, we're here, right? And what we've found, and I think that there will be studies, or there are studies that are already showing this, is that fans of women's sports are so much more engaged at a much deeper level. They want storytelling. They want to know about the athletes. They want to know about their personal lives. They want to share in their journey. It's not just about statistics. It's not just about winning. It's not just about sports. It is so much deeper. And then that kind of fandom builds a loyalty that is absolutely massive. And that loyalty spans all sport, all teams.
Yeah.
Like, I think that when people get traded, there is like a mourning.
Yes.
But also they follow them. They become fans of them no matter where they go.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to see some of our favorite players go overseas or start playing in different leagues. And there's a lot of tension there. But no matter what, we know that loyal fans of women's sports, will follow their journey to wherever they go. And I think that that is something that we've heard over and over and over again here. And one thing that I want to mention is that I created the space for what I felt like were hardcore fans.
Yep.
Like this sliver of the population that would be really into sharing this joy with other hardcore fans. But what the bra actually has become is a space for folks to become fans. So many people come in here, they don't know anything about sports.
Yeah.
They don't. They just aren't fans of women's sports when they walk in. They want to be in community here. They heard about this place. They think it would be cool. It feels welcoming to them. And then they sit down, they have a meal, they have a beverage, and they see what's on TV. They're free to ask questions. They can be curious. And it's like a warm hug.
Yeah.
And they become a fan. It's like a casual fan. And then the casual becomes, they start following these folks on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then they buy this, then they get like all in on the stories, the culture, the brand, everything. And then they become a fan. So when I think about the sports bra and where it is in the movement of women's sports, it's not only giving fans a place to be and celebrate, but it creates fandom, which is really possibly one of the most important parts of the entire growth, right? And why we think that we're just at the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I love that. creating fandom. So what are some of the questions like new fans ask?
Oh my gosh. I mean, they just sit there and they're just like, oh, I've never, I've only ever seen men's basketball.
Yeah.
People say that all the time. I've only ever seen men's basketball on TV. And it's just like, oh, this is very different.
Yeah.
And there's like fundamentally different.
Yeah.
Teamwork, gameplay, style of play, like all kinds of things. And there are so many guys that come in here and watch, and they will say things that, like, in general, women will avoid saying.
Yeah.
The guys will say things like, oh, I don't watch men's sports anymore.
Oh.
And I very rarely hear a woman say that.
Yeah.
But guys will be like, I don't watch men's sports anymore because and then they list off a couple reasons, and then they list for why they only watch women's sports.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I fully agree. But also, like, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's awesome.
I mean, that's why you keep saying we're just at the starting point.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're growing together and we're learning together. What are you learning right now? Like, you as a human
I mean, constantly learning. Constantly learning. I would say that my learning curve in the past. So we opened in April of 22.
Mhm.
So we haven't even been open 4 years. So in that span, I've, relatively learned how to run a restaurant. Scale, expand, be the face of a brand. Kind of like you, except I didn't grow out of it until the bra happened. Pretty shy, pretty introverted, really a back of the house personality.
Yeah.
And so when the bra landed, I had to step in front and very outside of my comfort zone. So learning all of those things, but learning a ton about myself and our capacity. Like, that's something that I talk about often, is our capacity to grow as humans.
Yeah.
Like, if I look back 5 years and say, Jenny, in 5 years, you're going to know how to do these things. You're going to believe in these things. You're going to know this about yourself. I'd be like, you're thinking of somebody else. That ain't me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But so I had this dream, this vision of the sports bra. And people always ask me, where do you see the sports bra in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And I think when, I can't say that I am a parent, but I've never had my own child. Let's say that. But the bra kind of feels like a baby to me when I had it. And I think that when people have children, of course they're going to want their child to, like, do these things.
Yeah.
And they'll have, like, a vision for them.
Yeah.
But really, that child's going to grow up to be whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
And your job is to nurture it.
Yeah.
And, like, kind of get it in the right direction. And that's all I can do for the bra. Is just, like, from the moment those doors opened, this baby has been completely different than what I had imagined. And I will never say that I know fully what it's going to be, because it has taken just dramatic steps in different directions that I had no idea about. And so for me, it's just like, okay, how do I nurture this baby? How best can I get it to where I feel like it wants to go? It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about the bra. And really, it's about the fans. Where do the fans want the bra? And that's the only reason why I went from, like, one to franchising. Is just like impact.
Yeah.
People want this. People feel like, not even that they want it, they feel like they need this space to exist in their communities. And I was just like, okay.
It's beautiful, because I don't think we all know that women's sports will continue to grow, but we don't know where it will grow into, which is exactly what this is, right?
Just nurture.
I thought you were about to do 6,
Nurture, just baby it.
6, 7, 6, 7. I'm tired of hearing that one. But, like, how about, like, when you start to think about where you've grown as a leader, right? Because I think some of our listeners are leaders, and they're trying to also learn through you. This is beyond your wildest dreams, and it's going to continue. How do you went from single to franchising. What are the lessons in leadership that you have learned that were the hardest to learn, that you think have set you up for more success?
I mean, again, I feel like a student all the time. Like, I feel like I don't know anything.
Mhm.
Like, I'm constantly learning. And it's not until, I'm in a room and I have to, like, talk to somebody about something that I'm like, "Oh, actually, I do know these things."
Totally.
But up until then, I'm like, "Do I know? I have no idea."
Yeah.
But, I would say the hardest thing right now that I'm struggling with, and I feel like it's very new, is going from an operator mindset to a CEO mindset.
Yeah.
Because my only career prior to this was in kitchens.
Mhm.
And that was, I started as a dishwasher prep cook.
Yeah.
And then I worked my way up over the course of over 15 years to an executive chef position. But as an executive chef, I had 75 employees, but I knew how to do every single person's job. And I would get in there and I'd be like, "Oh, you don't know how to do this? Let me show you." I'd go back and do dishes. The dishwasher would break. I would fix it. Like, that was just, and that was how I led. I led by example. As a CEO, now I have people who work for me who have literally decades of experience in fields I know nothing about.
Yeah.
How do I become a leader for them? And that was a big struggle. And I have, we hate the term imposter syndrome, but I have big time insecurities
Yeah.
around lots of things,
Yeah.
but particularly when I started to hire folks. And I was just like, how do I lead you? And I don't know what you do for your, like, I don't understand the mechanics of the
Yeah.
job. And so, again, thank God I have a really fabulous team and we have really great communication. They basically had an intervention for me one day and they were like, "Listen, Jenny, we know you're struggling with the CEO thing." And it actually was because I brought them together and I was like, "Hey, you guys listen. I don't think I'm cut out to be a CEO." Like, this was a real conversation that happened.
Wow.
I was just like, "I understand that I'm the visionary, that I'm the leader of this movement and the sports bra. But I don't have any business acumen. Like, I don't know how to be a chief executive officer."
Yeah.
And they were like, "No, Jenny, we only want to follow you. And you're the CEO because you are the CEO. You don't need to become a CEO. Are there tools and things you need to learn? Yes, absolutely." But they basically had an intervention and then they introduced me to several folks who are like CEO coaches,
Mhm.
leadership coaches.
Yeah.
And I was just like, didn't know that that was a thing. And so I met up with a few and I took on a CEO coach and it was absolutely game changing. And they were, they introduced me to other CEOs. And so, like, talking to other people who are sitting in amazing, successful, huge companies that have exactly the same feelings that I have is mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
That you look at them and you see all of the success.
Yeah.
And when I have a conversation with them, they feel all the same insecurities that I have. Or like they went through the same battles that I'm going through now 15 years ago. And so that feeling of being less alone and realizing that this is a journey that so many people have actually taken, maybe not with exactly obviously the
Yeah.
sports bra,
Yeah.
but in some form or fashion. And so just that kind of outreach and knowledge and feeling like you're not alone.
Yeah.
Again, that CEO position is something that I'm just starting to like try to figure out and lead. And it's a lot more about, strategy and vision and accountability and motivation than it is about knowing exactly what their jobs are. And so that shift for me, operator, CEO, work in progress, big time. And I would say it's fresh in my mind. So that has been the most difficult and the most challenging. And it's happening right now. But obviously in the beginning, everything, because I just didn't know anything. Somebody had to teach me how to wait a table. I'd never waited a table. I'd never dealt with money, like cash handling.
Yeah.
I'd never tapped a keg.
Yeah.
Like all of these
little
really
things, yeah.
simple things that happen out here.
Yeah.
I knew all, like,
Behind
the first 2 weeks,
Yeah.
people were like, "Jenny, you need to get out of the kitchen." I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm scared."
Yeah, that you were safe.
I was safe. I knew, I was like, "Let me run, like,
Yeah.
let me help you with these
Yeah.
tickets." And they're like, "No, you get out of here."
Getting comfortable is uncomfortable. I think it's so many things. I mean, I went through that too. I mean, I had, not aging myself, 30 plus years of being a professional female athlete. And then you get out and you're like, where's my voice matter? And I think it's one of the biggest things with athletes is that we don't know how it correlates in the outside world because for so long you're just being trained to be the absolute best at what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you were behind the scenes and you get into the new world and you're like, where does my voice even matter? but it's having people around you to help you see the power of who you are. And now you're sitting down with people like Alexis. I remember seeing that.
Like Karina. For real, let's be real.
Thank you. I'll pay you for that later. But you're sitting in these meetings with these people that have changed women's sports and been an advocate and a voice, and you're right next to them. That has to feel special because you took that leap of faith, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's unreal.
Yeah.
And, I pinch myself sometimes, and sometimes I go home and I'm in bed and I'm like, is this my life now? Like, for real. But, it's so beautiful because I have such gratitude to be able to share conversations, like real conversations with folks where this is their journey. Like women's sports fandom, growth, equity. Like, this is their life's journey as well.
How about athletes? What athlete have you met that has been cool, and why?
So many. I mean, gosh, I would say that one of the ones that stand out in my mind just because they were so cool was we had Dee Richards here. And she came in for Sweet 16 watch party here at the Bra. And she was just like, oh my God, I've been reading about you. Congratulations on all this stuff. She knew the ins and outs of the Bra, and she was just so chill. And, to me, she's like this glamorous, like amazing, legendary basketball player, and just gorgeous. And I was just like, up, 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 up. But it was awesome because she was just like, I know that there's grilled cheese on the menu, but it's in the kids section. She was like, can I order that? And I was like, girl, you could order whatever you want. And so, I waved somebody down. I was like, Dee wants a grilled cheese, make it the best, And so out comes this grilled cheese, and literally, I think Jonquil Jones was here. I think both
Bahamas.
NECA and Shanae were here. And the grilled cheese lands in front of Dee, and they're all like, I want one of those. And so there was just like a round of grilled cheese sandwiches. But yeah, that was just such a great like reminder of just one, how the story of the sports bra is known out there in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I would have no idea that somebody like Dee would have heard and read and be interested about the sports bra. And then also that we're all just regular human beings that are doing really amazing things. And that if we empower other folks to continue to use their voice, live in their authenticity, that they're going to be right alongside of us, right?
And they all love grilled cheese.
And we all love a grilled cheese.
All right, let's get into rapid fire.
Okay.
Speaking of grilled cheese, what is the craziest dish on the menu?
Craziest? Huh. That's weird. Well, I will tell you a dish that is signature, and it's mom's baby back ribs.
Okay.
So it's the first item on the menu. It is literally word for word my mom's recipe for a classic Vietnamese dish that is this is a deep story. It is my favorite dish. I grew up eating it. It's called thịt kho, but the main difference is that it's pork butt in the original recipe, and here I wanted like finger food, so it's baby back ribs, pork.
Oh.
But it was the dish that I learned how to cook first and kind of launched me into the culinary arts.
Wow.
So that dish, thịt kho, baby back ribs, it is spectacular. It will be franchise, like we're franchising out that recipe. Like it will be in every location. And it has roots deep down for me and my mom.
And when you felt you belonged. So you talked about your mom having your shrine at home.
Oh, yeah.
We're laughing at this because my mom has a shrine of myself at home, too. This is what moms do. You've got a documentary, hopefully, putting the positive vibes out. All right, coming back. All-time walking guest that made you go, yes.
All time. Oh, there's so many.
Okay, you can choose 3.
Okay. I mean, having DT and Sue Bird here at the same time was out of this world. Like, those are, growing up playing basketball, legendary. And I will never forget, there was a table right over here, a 6 top, and they were like, will you do shots with us? And then the bartenders poured shots. And so the 6 top, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi all did shots. And I was just like,
we're good.
unsure if this would be happening at any other bar.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
this is the sports bra. This is a moment. So I would say that those two are
Because they're celebrating you. Okay.
Top two.
Jeez.
top two.
What song instantly changes the vibe of the bar?
What song?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's a random one.
Of course, that's why it's called
Yeah.
fire. Rapid fire.
I don't know. I have no idea. I have zero idea. I feel like the vibes are just legit in here no matter what music is playing. But every time there's a championship game,
Yeah.
the bartenders are always looking for a song for the winning team that has like the word or the team or the city in the lyrics.
Okay.
And then they boop.
So I think the first fire game, we've got to have a boop song and play that. And then that should be like the anthem.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us what that song
Oh,
is.
I don't know. The first I can't sing. Are we allowed to sing?
It should be rapid
Should we
fire.
sing
Yeah.
Alicia Keys?
Girl.
This girl is on fire. Go ahead. You have to
No,
sing with-
no, I
can't-
cannot.
can't leave me
No,
hanging like
I will.
that. Okay. Favorite sports moment of all time?
Of all time, probably the one that I think about that opened the sports bra that helped me plug the idea in my head. 2018, Enrique,
Oh,
last second game-winning shot, Notre Dame versus Mississippi State.
wow. Wow.
Because that moment led me to the idea of the sports bra. And that led us here.
Wow.
So I would say that to me, that is a legendary game.
That will forever have changed your life.
Yep, forever have changed my life.
How about as the young basketball player, Jenny?
Like my moment?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, Dad knows this one. He caught it on video. Well, mostly because then he started screaming and then the camera just goes sideways. But okay, so I played in high school. I was at Fort Vancouver
Mm-hmm.
in Vancouver, Washington. We were the worst team in the district. Dead last. And we were playing a spirit game. I don't know if that's what it was called, but it was like one of the biggest games where everybody shows up and like wears, the gear for the high school. And it's like a contest between student bodies.
Yeah.
We were playing Hudson's Bay, which was the #1 team in our district. And we were playing at their home court. So it was absolute packed. They opened the rafters on the second level because there was thousands of people there. Anyway, everyone's expecting us to get absolutely handed. The last time we played Bay, I think we lost by 45. We get out there, and we hang tough. And we like triple team their best player, Chantel. Chantel actually ended up playing in the W. But anyway, we're neck and neck. Like everything's fine. And we have a best player, Sarah, and she's a center. So there's this last play of the game, and we're down by 1. Very last play, couple seconds left. Coach calls timeout. We draw something up for Sarah. It's like, screen. She's going to get the ball in a layup. Bay puts everybody on Sarah. Underneath the hoop, stops the ball. Everybody crashes. There's no way Sarah's getting that ball. I'm out on the 3-point line, like, waving my arms. And finally, they chuck it out to me. And I just remember I take one dribble and I just launch it. And it just, as it's going, it's up in the air. I'm thinking, oh shit, this is going to go in. And it goes in. And I like feel like I full on blackout. Like the rafters clear. It is insane. So we win by 1.
Yeah.
It is pure insanity. And I remember looking at the ref, just waiting for him to like show that it counts because the buzzer went off at some point. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I launched it before the buzzer went off. And I look at him and he like counts it. And I just remember getting like swept up. I got carried off of the court. It was a whole situation. It made the paper, like it was in the Columbian. I was like the player of the week. And like literally we were the worst team, but we won that game. And my dad, that night I couldn't sleep. I was like, so
How old were you?
I was 17.
Oh.
I think I was like a junior or senior.
Yeah.
And I was in bed just like reliving it and just like so proud and just being like, this is it. And I hear boom, 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 boom. And door cracks open. It's Dad. And he's just like, I can't sleep. I'm so excited. And he crawls into bed and we just talk basketball. And we just talk basketball until we both fall asleep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful story.
Yeah, it was legit like my best basketball moment personally. Like
Yeah.
the game winner, like didn't matter if we were last. It didn't matter if I had a 48% free throw shooting percentage, which is true. Yeah.
But
It
you
was
won the
awesome.
spirited game.
Oh yeah, and
But
like
like, just look at how like that's left with you for life now.
oh,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. What's one thing you wish men knew about women's sports fans?
That men knew about women's sports fans?
Mhm.
That's also a random question. These are rapid fire. I think that it's good for everyone to know that women's sports fans know sports.
Yeah.
They don't need to be like pinked and shrinked or whatever people
Yeah.
say, or like cutified. No, they know women's sport. They know stats. They know, strategy. They know what's going on from front office, from like all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that knowledge is there and then some.
Yeah.
Because there's the deep dive into who people really are, right? And I think that that is massive.
At the same time, you kind of talked about this earlier. Why is it important to have men be women's sports fans?
I mean, it's going to take everybody, right? And fandom is just it's fandom.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like if you love sports, and statistically this is true too. If you love sports, you don't care who's playing it.
Yeah.
You love sports.
Yeah.
There's this excitement, this journey that everybody's on together, and then to have it in a community where everybody's just as amped. Like it's just like listening to music at your house
Yeah.
versus listening to music at a concert.
Yeah.
Like there is just like this it's severely up leveled. So, I mean, allyship is huge. Don't get me wrong, but like that is an everybody journey.
Mm-hmm.
An everybody journey.
If you could watch one sports moment in history here at the sports bar packed, what moment would that be?
I gotta go back to Enrique. I would love to have Enrique in-house. We have that 2018 game on all screens, packed house. I mean, honestly, it could be like an homage to Enrique. Because I don't know if you know this, but that semifinals game that got them to that game, she hit the game-winning shot. So to have back-to-back game-winning shots, like that's insane.
Last one. If you could sit down and watch sports with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Michelle Obama.
Oh, that's a good one. Why?
Mad crush. Huge mad crush. I just want... I could get teary thinking about having a beer and just watching a basketball game with her and like high fives and us shouting at the refs together. We would have just such a good time. I just feel like, yeah, I guess it would be a date. Maybe I just took it to date level. I would love to have a date with Michelle Obama at the Bra watching a game.
Okay, you talk about refs. Would you rather be a ref for basketball or soccer?
Oh, basketball for sure.
Why?
Soccer's too much running. That is way too much running and so much pressure. Like in basketball, at least there's a couple other folks out there to like take the heat for you. In soccer, oh my gosh. I'd be like, yellow card? Oh, no, not yellow. Okay, no yellow card then.
You're like, I ain't losing.
No.
All right, your call to action.
Call to action. Oh my gosh. Continue watching women's sports. Watch women's sports, talk about it. Like one of my favorite moments, this is a random one. I was in Vegas catching an Uber from a hotel back to the airport. And I get in and I had stolen a WNBA basketball from the gym. And so I have a WNBA basketball and the guy's like, oh man, the Aces. And this guy, flannel shirt, long hair, he had like the Eagles playing on an 8-track. It was crazy. And he was just like, oh my God, the Aces. And he just knew every statistic, every player. He recapped like the last 3 games they'd played. And I literally was texting like my besties being like, dude, I'm having the best moment of my life in this Uber because this guy is a huge women's sports fan.
Yeah.
And just how normal it was for him to just be so excited. And we've seen this for decades when it comes to men's football or men's baseball or men's basketball. And to have that moment be normalized
Yeah.
for women athletes, that is my dream. So look at it, watch it, be a fan, follow all of those stories, demand it, wear it, come to the sports bra, and just, be a fan and immerse yourself. You vote with your dollars, like all of that stuff. Like that's my call to action. Just be a fan and normalize it. Talk about it, bring it up to people. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I actually forgot to ask you one question because in one of the episodes, our president, Claire Hamill, talked about when we launched the fire, right? We did it differently. And she said people would show up. And that day you showed up at the Moda Center, at the Fan Fest.
Yeah.
Now we go through your journey as the little kid who hit this big shot at 17, then
One moment.
you launch the sports bra. We're here in Portland, your hometown. And this dream where we started the conversation, where we were sitting here with people talking about bring it to Portland. And on that day, we announced the brand in our own unique way. We launched the name. Talk about that moment for you.
I mean, if somebody told me as a kid that they would be announcing the WNBA coming back to my hometown in a restaurant that I helped build, I'd be like, there's no way. There's no way that would happen. And honestly, that day, I don't know if you remember, but I showed up in a t-shirt that was a collaboration between the WNBA and Round 21.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an artist's representation of me.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm wearing a shirt that the WNBA helped to create of a young version of myself, a Vietnamese basketball player. And so, I did that on purpose because to me, it was just like where you start and where you're going and the dream and the vision is so much bigger and greater if you let it happen. And if you believe in it and you you go for it. It's just, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, Jenny from the Sports Bra, thank you for your time, your vulnerability, your leadership, helping put Portland as the global epicenter of women's sports by just being you. Appreciate you, buddy. What's up? Woo, what a conversation. I want to thank my dear friend Jenny because she showed up once again, and she showed up in her vulnerable, beautiful self, making us learn about fandom, letting us see insights of the imposter syndrome from being an operator to CEO, the vulnerability to bring her entire group together and say, maybe this is not for me, but then the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people to help lift you up. The importance of building a space for just people to feel like they belong, for people to feel alive in a way that only women's sports can do. And then most importantly, we always talk about Portland being the global epicenter of women's sports. We wouldn't be that way if it wasn't for a person like Jenny. How fitting that we end this season here at the Sports Bra in the community of Portland, where we talked with owners, we talked with general managers, presidents, the athletes, legends retiring, people leaving the world of fandom. And I think I've learned so many things about women's sports, even though I've been in it for so many years, because the vulnerability of people to share, the collective effort of people wanting this to be bigger than it is. We know it's going in that direction, but collectively we have some of the best minds in the world in women's sports. But I think the most important thing is I think of the next generation, that younger generation that shows up at games and thinks this is normal. But most importantly, everybody is a leader in this space. Everybody has a role to play in this space. Everybody has a story in this space. And we hope that after the season 1, you feel a connection to women's sports and what we're growing here in Portland like you never have. Because the conversations have been vulnerable, they've been real, they've been open. And most importantly, they've made you think just a little bit differently. We hope you tune in next season. We're so curious to hear who you want to see. We're so curious to know what you've learned, but most importantly, we're so curious to just grow with you. So thanks for tuning in. and we'll see you in season 2. Bye.